And we've got, I have my mic muted, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday. Oh, my goodness. But welcome to the show. And we're so glad that you joined us. Donna Guinouard and Charlene Fouts are going to be joining us today. They are a couple of ladies behind the scene to help make this show a success. And we're going to be right back with Charlene Fouts right after this brief message. And we're just so thankful we have an opportunity to have both of them here with us so you can get a chance to, get to know them and hear a little bit about their stories. We'll be right back right after this brief message.
Hi, and welcome to the Messages of Inspiration and Hope show that's proudly sponsored by the 6-Minute Webinar. Today we have some exciting and very interesting guests, real people just like you and me. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the show. Now here's Jim.
And welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a wonderful pleasure for us to be here today, and it looks like the little video's got a drag there, but anyway, we're so glad that you tuned in today. And we were joking before the show started. I was teasing Charlene because she had a little bit of hearing me on the audio, and I'm sitting there and here I start out the show with my mic muted, didn't realize it, so I'm sitting here like a talking head, not saying anything. But it's Monday. We're so glad that you're here, and let me welcome Charlene to the stage. Charlene Fouts, ladies and gentlemen. Hey,
Hello.
Charlene, how you doing?
Very good. Nice to be here, Jim. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I tell you right now, you were probably sitting there and the show started and I'm just yakking away, moving my lips and no words coming out. And you probably thought, okay, this is going to be strange today. I got your email address up there. You're healingacresneveragain.org. That's an organization that you started. Charlene, you've just really, since I've known you, she's one of the original group of the original Messages of Inspiration and Hope that started on with the Zoom and on Facebook Live, and that's all we had before we got recognized and invited to come to the E360 TV network. But since then, I mean, she does a lot of our commercials, and in addition to that, she's been an airline stewardess, and she now works for a company that's right now they're known as Extra Airways. And share a little bit about that. How did you get involved in being an airline stewardess and all, if you don't mind?
It was always a dream of mine. My whole life I wanted to fly, and I'm just so happy to be able to do it. It's getting into the airline, and the school that they put you through is not easy. It's kind of like a boot camp. So it's really an accomplishment, and it's something I'm very proud of. Through Extra Airways, I got my ATS and my ATGI, which basically means I can train other flight attendants and dispatchers. So it's an honor. It's fun. I love to travel, and I really enjoy working with the people.
I see. And of course, you went through a lot of training there for about 3 weeks. You said it's like a boot camp, huh?
It is. It's like you have to take a test pretty much every day, and you've got to get 90 or above because they're FAA regulations. So you've got to know. It's being a flight attendant. It's all about safety, understanding the airplane, understanding how to save people. So it's a very serious job. Most of the time, you don't need that, but if you need it, you've got to know exactly what you're doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because you get a bunch of people on there and they probably never even had first aid, and if in the case of emergency, you've got to basically control a crowd that's probably real upset, and half of them scared to death, and that and panicking and things
people,
like that. Yeah, it's just human nature. And I tip my hat to you about that, because I always feel sorry for some of the flight attendants when they come by and they got to talk to someone that's disrespectful to them, like shut your phone off or something like that. I mean, everybody knows the rules, just follow the rules, and me and I got to tell you a funny story. I used to fly a lot out of Houston to Phoenix. And back in those days, it was Continental before they got bought out. And I was always flying at this certain time, and I saw this stewardess, and she looked at me and she says, "I know you." And I said, "I know you too." We started talking, and we had a real good time visiting with each other, and she was passing out some doodads. So a couple of guys sitting to my right, I was sitting in the aisle seat, and I started teasing them. I says, "Hey guys, guess what we're getting? What? Doodads? Doodads? Yeah, I'm not kidding. I'm getting some doodads, and they're actually a pretty good little snack." And I told her, I says, I was teasing her all that. She says, if you don't behave yourself, I'm going to put you in a folding chair on the wing. But that was the kind of report we had there, and we just had a wonderful time. And it was, she thanked me for making her flight a lot easier, and I thanked her for making mine, a lot of fun too. But it's really wonderful when you meet nice people, have a nice sense of humor, and they number one, they appreciate the job that you've got to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you've got a very interesting story, and you shared this originally on the original Messages of Inspiration and Hope. And Charlene, I'm just going to let you have as much latitude and longitude where you want to start at about your story, because you created the Healing Acres Never Again, and there was a reason behind that. Would you be kind enough to share that, please?
Absolutely. Healing Acres Never Again, we call it Hannah for short. And I started it because of my own life experiences with sexual trauma. Basically, my entire life, from an infant up into my teenage years, I was raped by my father and experienced incest, experienced just devastating for a child to have to go through. And by the time I was 21 years old, I'd had my entire life, I had nightmares about a giant snake that would attack me and rape me. And I couldn't, I didn't want to sleep. I would work all the time. And of course, just go through bad relationships because I was unaware of just how to navigate in life. So by the time I was 21 years old, I had pretty much had it. And I was ready to give up. But I had the snake dream again. And it just kind of all fell into place, the reality and the truth of who that snake was and what was really happening. And at that time, I had really pretty much had ready to give up. I didn't know what to do and where to go. And I found a church and a counselor who really helped me, and I believe saved my life, because I was just ready to say no more. I can't walk through these nightmares and not understanding what's going on. And he just really held my hand, helped me understand God, brought me into his family, his wife, his children, and just didn't judge me. And it's the same thing that I want to do for people in Hannah, because I know where they're coming from. And the most important thing that you have to do when you go through any kind of trauma is to be able to talk about it. And it's hard to talk about. And the way I started was being able to write about it. And that's where my books came from. But it was giving myself permission to understand the truth and to admit that. Because when we keep traumas, any kind of trauma that happens to us in life, if we keep that inside of us, it can make us sick. It's in our heart, our soul, our minds, our bodies. And we've got to be able to share that, even if it's just one other person or writing, in order to clean ourselves, from that, and understand that shame isn't ours. It wasn't our fault. And ultimately get to where we can forgive. And forgiving isn't about the other person, but it's about us being able to make peace in life and understanding. We're not always going to understand why things happen in life, but we do understand that God's there with us. And for me, it was God walking me through so many things and bringing me to a point where I could still have a life and have dreams, become a flight attendant, do the things that I wanted to do in life. Whereas trauma sometimes just puts a cloud over you where you don't know what to do and where to go. And you need somebody to help you go on that journey with, and walk out and see that light. So that's where Hannah came from. And when I was younger, the name Healing Acres Never Again, I did have a aunt, Bella. She died when I was about 10 years old, but she would come over and plant flowers and trees with me. And when she died, I would sit under that tree, and she told me, God can always be found in nature and things are always going to get better. So I want people to know, no matter what they're going through, just to find that peace, whether it's under a tree or wherever your private place is,
Yeah.
to be able to talk to yourself, to be able to talk to somebody else, and kind of understand the reality of the situation.
Wow. You know, when you was first on the Messages of Inspiration and Hope on that webinar series, and I heard your story, the thing, and just like you folks saw there, my goodness gracious, if you look at Charlene, she has a smile on her face, she's got light in her eyes, and she's just a beautiful person on the inside and just as well as the outside too. But the thing that I really liked about having her, I first contacted you and told you we're going to be on we're going to be on TV, and you were very excited. Thought it was a good deal. And then I asked her to help me with some commercials, and she did. Then I asked her if she would also be consider being an honorary host here on the E360 TV network, and she said yes. And now she's she's an airline stewardess. She's you do a lot. You really do a lot, don't you?
I stay busy,
Mhm.
but it's
Yeah.
stuff that I love to do. I love
Oh yeah.
what I'm doing.
Yeah, because if you love what you're doing, you never work a day in your life. But for someone out there maybe watching this and saying that they're in an abusive situation, they're in a hellhole, if I can use that and put it like that. You see Charlene's email address there, and they reach out. When they go to the healingacresneveragain.org website, what would they find, and how would you steer them, or any special advice there? How, just go ahead.
I put a little bit of my story on Healing Acres so that people understand that they're not alone. And I think a lot of people don't realize this is a very common occurrence. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
about 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men have some sort of a sexual trauma at some point in their life. So it's not, it's a subject that we need to talk about, and people don't talk about it openly like I do, but it's
Mhm.
something that we need to say, hey, if this happened to you, it's okay, and reach out, because we have people who can be mentors and listen, and basically it's somebody there to be able to listen and not judge them. And we do have counselors that we can set them up with, but it's basically, I believe, Hannah is about inspiration and letting you know, no matter what kind of hardship or trauma you're going through in life, you're going to make it. And it's
Oh
just
yeah.
inspiring you and encouraging you to look up, know God's there, and know that other people care, because we can't do it alone. And that God will put the right people in your life. And
Mhm.
we want to be able to help them with that. We have a place on the website where they can enter their email and enter information, send a message, and then we get back with them and we kind of analyze what do they need and try to help them individually.
Mhm. Good, good. I imagine also you mentioned 1 in 6 men have some type of sexual trauma and all that. Do
Yes.
many men come to the site there, and do
We
they?
have a lot of men, and my vice president who does this with me is a man, Kenneth Nathan. He's in
Mhm.
Australia, and he helps out there. So we have a woman's perspective, we have a man's perspective,
Mhm.
and a lot of people just assume that it's women, but it happens a lot to men, and they do reach out. It's something that they need to reach out about and
Mhm.
talk to somebody. So we do absolutely work with the men.
Mhm.
Men, women, children.
Mhm. I understand. Yeah, because I tease a lot when I was growing up. When my older brother went in the army, he was 8 years older than I was. I was left at home with 3 sisters, and I joke how I always thought that ladies were supposed to hit me, because my sisters always, you let someone say anything about me, and I couldn't get to them because I had 3 sisters. They were just all automatically on them. I mean, it was just, yeah, they really watched over me. But yeah, it's amazing how I've known a few men in abusive relationships, and their lives is just like with the ladies. It's just a living nightmare for them. My goodness gracious. So
It is.
yeah.
Things happen and you don't understand, and it's something that you really have to go back and kind of revisit it. Unfortunately, you have to look at the truth.
Mhm.
And in order to do that, I really feel like you need to know somebody's there with you walking down that road, because it's terrifying.
Sure.
When I had to go back and visit the little girl that I was, it was the scariest thing I've ever had to do.
Yeah. It's a road that you didn't want to go down, huh?
You don't want to go down it, but you need to go down it, or you're not
Mhm.
going to get up and over that hill. And
Okay.
you don't belong down there. Somebody put you down there. You didn't go there
Oh, yeah.
voluntarily. So it's
Right.
just being able to understand that process, that it's not your fault, and not to have that shame.
Mhm.
And people are afraid, and they feel like they did something to deserve that, and they didn't.
Yeah,
And
that's
like I
true.
said, things do happen, and it's learning to love yourself.
Mhm. Let me ask you a question. I want to shift the gears because you're very positive and your light is just very bright inside of you. And yeah, that's an inspiration for folks that no matter what they're going through, they too can, come out of it and it not hurt anymore. And what are you most grateful for in life?
I'm grateful for the second chance, because
Mm.
I felt like in life, when I was facing that darkness, when I was 21 years old and just ready to give up. I'd been through horrible things,
Mm.
incest, domestic violence, rape, and abortion. And I just felt like it's done. I'm done. I can't go on.
Oh,
And
yeah.
just having somebody come along and help me walk the path that I needed to walk, and be able to forgive myself and
Hmm.
learn how to love myself and get over those obstacles. For me, the greatest thing is just having that second chance at life, because
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for God putting the right people in my pathway.
That's one of the things that we talk about a lot too here on the show and in our business and private life and all. We're very firm believers that, we're put here for a purpose. And God will use us individually. All of you folks out there, He'll use you individually to
Yes.
go out and touch someone's life. That's the reason why we're here on planet Earth. It's not about bank accounts or cars or
Mhm.
houses or anything like that, because really the things that we value in life, they can all be replaced because normally the things we value is money can buy,
Yes.
but you can't buy your health. You cannot, your heartbeat in your veins, breath in your lungs. How do you buy that? I mean, those are all special gifts. Your intelligence, and it's just amazing how we value things that we can buy, see, touch, and feel. But one of the things I know about you, and I want you to share this, is that you're a pet lover, aren't you?
Definitely, definitely. I didn't have a dog when I was a little girl, but I used to take a bag of bread and tear off crumbs and throw it at the neighbor's dog until she would follow me home and hide her under my bed. So the first thing that I did when I moved out at 17 was get a dog, and I've had one ever since. And
Oh,
Cody's been with me, my dog currently, for he's about 10 years old, but he still
mhm,
acts like a puppy. And I'll tell you, they're healers. They
mhm.
don't judge you. They're always happy to see you, and it's just a comfort. They're somebody. He's always there, and
Yeah.
it's a great comfort. I love Cody.
Oh, yeah. We have dogs and cats, and I tell people that, dogs live with you, you live with cats. And if you understand that, then you're good to go. And because I get up in the morning and little Dixie, a little female cat, she's always, I'm her servant. And she wants some treats before I make my coffee. Those are the house rules. Evidently, I didn't get the memo, but she reinforces that and reminds me of every day.
You're
I,
trained.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I tell you, she probably took a look at me and said, "Huh, this is no challenge. This guy, he's a pancake. He's easy." But I tell you, if you could have a conversation with someone that's living or dead, who would that one person be?
Oh, that's easy. I have one child. He's a son. His name's Oki, and he was kidnapped from me about 9 years ago. And I would do anything to be able to talk to him and
Oh my
just tell him
gosh.
that I love him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 20 years old now, so I would love just to know that he's okay and see where
Wow.
he is. Yeah.
I had no idea. I had no idea. My goodness. My heart goes out. That's just, oh goodness.
Thank you.
Yeah, you'll be in my thoughts and prayers on that because I don't think anything could be more frightening for a little kid than to be taken away from their home and their environment. And
He's with his
yeah,
father, but I
oh
know he's okay. I just
yeah,
don't know where he's at.
yeah. I understand. I
Yeah,
understand. Either way, that's that's hard on the parent that no longer has contact with their child.
it really is.
And and you mentioned people that's taking you by the hand. Is there one person that kind of comes to the top there that really made a difference in your life?
Yeah, it was Gary Rowe. He's not alive anymore. He had passed away, but he was the counselor who was really a psychologist at the church that I went to. He had retired and became a counselor at the church. And
Mhm.
really, when my life was falling apart, he was always there, and he would listen, not judge. And like I said, he made me a part of everything that was going on, his wife, his children, the church, and it just kind of gave me a family that I needed to be able
Mhm.
to move forward in life. And one of the hardest things I had to overcome was the abortions. It was
Mm.
something that I had gone through that I just could not forgive myself for. And I ended up starting a home for unwed mothers back then in my early 20s. And he
Mhm.
just was always encouraging me and telling me, you can do this. And to me, that's one of the greatest gifts that I have right now is to look back because it's still going and see those children and the children's children
Mm.
that happened because of something that he really helped me walk through the healing process. Nobody can do it for you, but it's just about pointing you in the right direction and saying,
Mhm.
hey, focus on this, focus on the good stuff. This is what God wants you to know. You're valuable,
Oh,
and he's got a plan for your life. And I just clung on to that. And like I said, I had a dream about having a nonprofit organization back then, and I was able to do it, and it blessed my life, and just like Hannah's doing now. So to me, Gary Rowe would give his time and his effort, and he would just put the right people in your path or the right words. Sometimes it was just giving you, like what we do with Hannah on the Facebook and on the Instagram. It's little, but it's inspiration. It's something that helps you think positive every day, and
mhm.
that's something he would do for me, and he did it for a lot of people. So I just really appreciate everything that he did for me is really what I base what I'm doing for Hannah with Hannah, to be able to help other people walk through that course, because it seems simple, but sometimes all we need in a day is just somebody to tell us, hey, it's going to be okay. I
Mhm.
care. Somebody cares. And he was there and he did that for a lot of people. So he made a huge difference in my
Wow.
life.
I bet he didn't realize what a huge difference he made in your life until he goes on to his reward.
Yeah.
And I tell you, it's hearing your story again. I could just see a lot of people out there and say, "Wow, I need to get in touch with this lady here," because if you know of someone that's in an abusive situation, or if they can't talk about something, please have them go to Charlene's website there. I put the capital letters in there to break up the words, but it's just healingacresneveragain.org, and share this show with them. And, just by talking to Charlene and seeing the light in her eyes and the beauty within her soul, I mean, you can just see, wow, can you imagine you or someone that's going through a trauma like she went through, or traumas like she went through, I should say, and have that same type of light and that same type of love of life for living. That's what makes life worth living, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's about helping others get to that point and just know, like I said, tomorrow's another day.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Charlene, you do so much for us here. You do the commercials. You're honorary host here on E360 TV. You fly all over the place, and you keep keep the people up there all in their chair or in their seats. And, just, I tip my hat to you because, everything that you've done, you just automatically just jump out there and say, yes, I can do this. I've seen that in you. You've got that can-do attitude.
Yeah.
I mean, if they put her in a Major League Baseball uniform to go up and get a home run, not a problem. I mean,
Well, I had a vision when I was 21. When I was going through the healing process, I had a vision about Hannah. Way back when. I'm only 27, so I don't know how that works, but it was a long time ago. But I did have the vision of Hannah. I didn't really understand what it was. So I know when I'm supposed to do something, and I can't do everything, but I know when God tells me to do something, I'm going to do it. So, and I'm going to be excited about it because I know good things are going to happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because that's one of the most wonderful feelings is being able to help someone. And I'll give you an idea. We talk a lot about how we network and we help one another and so on and so forth. And I needed I asked a lady to be on our show Friday for Everyday People because we had a cancellation. And she's going to be on this Friday, Michelle Moras. And I asked her, I said, would you do me a favor and come on the show? She says, yes. She said, would you do me a favor? And I said, sure. She said, would you like to be on my TV show? And she has one in the Philippines. And so that's a great honor for us. And that's the kind of people that you want to get associated with because as I tell people, I've had my fair share of running in with people that they kind of focus on the only thing they're interested in is buttering their own bread. And people like that, I feel sorry for because they really cheat themselves out of the true riches of life. And Charlene, I tell you, we're just about out of time. I got to bring Donna on, and Donna co-hosts one of the shows with me there, the Guest V.I.P there on Thursday, and I want people to get a chance to know her. But I would like to say thank you so much for just saying yes to anything that I've asked you to do. Like, would you help me with the commercials? Yes. Would you like to be an honorary host here and help me? Yes. And would you like to take over and do my job full time? Yes. No. Oh my goodness.
I know my limits.
Yeah, I hear you. But sincerely, we've really enjoyed having you on, and thank you so very, very much. And I tell you right now, I got to salute you because in my heart, you're a very special lady.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to take a little bit of a commercial break here, and we're going to be right back with. I got to get all these. Being a producer too, I mean, being your own show, that kind of really challenge, But anyway, I got to pay a couple of bills here right quick, and here is Mr. Dustin Matthews. We'll be right back with Donna Guinouard.
A whole new level of clarity. That's what I received when I implemented the 6-minute webinar. Look, there's no shortage of things that you could be doing to grow your business, to grow your audience, to get your message out there. It's quite dizzying. However, when you get the perfect message in front of the right people, it has an amazing ability to get those folks into action. And so much that is out there distracts us from getting back to that message and finding that right person. With a 6-minute webinar, you can absolutely do that. Hi, my name is Dustin Matthews. I recently implemented the 6-minute webinar in my business and have seen amazing results, and I've gotten a whole new level of clarity. I highly, highly recommend you implement it in your business.
Had to look down and make sure I didn't have my mic muted again like I did when I kicked off the show. But we're just so happy today. You get a chance to meet a couple of the ladies behind the scenes who are part of this show. And one of the ladies that's a big part of the show, and she helps me on Thursday with the guest VIPs. Let me click on this right here. There we go. Hey, Donna, how are you doing? You got your mic muted there.
My turn to mute the mic. Yeah. I didn't want you to feel bad, Jim.
There you go. Oh, I can do that all by myself, Donna. I tell you, it's amazing, isn't it?
Oh, goodness. Well,
If
first
it,
of all, thank you so much for asking me to be on your show. What an honor and a privilege.
oh, well, thank you very much. And I tell you right now, I wanted people to get a chance to know some of the people behind the scenes because it takes a lot to put on a show. Takes a lot of effort and a lot of little wheels to turn and all those things. And
A lot of conversations and
oh yeah, oh
a lot
yeah,
of emails.
yep. A lot of follow-ups and get the show produced and all those things. But Donna, you are known as the high energy right now. I like that. High energy right now.
That's my Gmail.
Uh-huh.
And so it's a high energy performance coaching. And I started this when I moved back to Arizona. I moved back 4 years ago in July from Ohio. I'd been there a very long time, raised my children. So it's been a really interesting journey, progressing my journey into how high energy performance coaching came about.
Oh, okay. I don't know if we lost your audio there. Can you
I can
hear me?
hear
Now?
you.
Can you hear me? Okay, good. Is
Yeah.
the signal there is dragging a little bit, so that I thought maybe it was something to do with the audio, but it's just a signal. There's not much we can do about that. But let me put up your website there. Just DonnaGuinouard.com.
Yes.
And it took me about 3 months to learn how to pronounce her last name because I mispronounced it correctly about 29 times before I got it right.
Well, welcome to the club. If I had a penny for every time it was mispronounced, I'd never work a day again in my life.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I still remember, and I'm going to share this with the folks. We've shared it before on a previous show, but I remember I was going to Arizona. I'd met you once before, and I was on my way to Arizona. We were going to attend an event, and then we were going to have an event. And then I spoke at your event, and I didn't know that till the day before. But I don't remember now why I called you, but I called you up and you saw this strange number, area code 979, and you're thinking, because she answers the phone kind of hesitantly, hello? I said, hey, Donna, how you doing? Fine. Who's this? This your long lost cousin. So she knew right then and there I was lying.
Right? Like a rug.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was awesome. So yeah, after that day, Jim and I have declared each other officially we're cousins.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I just want to take a moment to mention that we had Marty Haggard on our very first show of the, let's see, it was last Thursday, wasn't it? Very first show of the Guest V.I.P. Week before, yeah. And then he was on your radio show and I was the co-host. And then back in July, he was on my radio show and you were the co-host, Marty Haggard, I'm speaking of. And one of the gentlemen in his band, Mark Abbott, I saw him there in July and he was playing in the band with Marty. He had leukemia and we lost him today. So we want to reach out to Mark's family and just let them know if they see this or if someone tells them about it, just let them know that we're, you guys are in our thoughts and prayers. And, we're just very sad that, for your loss,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. He was an incredible musician and an incredible person.
Yeah. And I'm glad he won that award. He won an award back in August, I think, for, I'm trying to remember what it was.
It was a very prestigious award.
Yes, it was. I'm so glad he won that, And then I saw on Facebook just yesterday or the day before, Mark put an entry in there that he was being sent home on hospice. And wow, we just want to remember the family and let them know that we're thinking of them and they're in our thoughts and prayers. And Donna, I tell you, that's one of the things that that you do too, is that you help people in our hour of need, because I'm just going to like I did with Charlene, I'm going to give you a lot of latitude and a lot of longitude, and because I'd like for you to share your story, because I know your story. And ladies and gentlemen, when you hear how, just like when you heard Charlene's story, you go like, oh, wow, this is another oh, wow story. And would you be kind enough to start from, your story, from how you overcame the obstacles in your life and the traumas you had to face?
Absolutely. So, when I was a real young girl, and then always had issues with the pain in my joints, and later was diagnosed in early teens. I was diagnosed with some pretty severe arthritis. So I've lived with that my whole life. No big deal. Life goes on. A lot of us have arthritis. I've had 3 major hand surgeries with that. Again, no big deal. It happens. So life goes on. I get married, ended up in Ohio. My ex-husband and I obviously divorced, and I was raising my 3 children on my own. And, anybody who raises children on their own, well, when you raise them together, but when you is difficult, but when you raise them, by yourself, that's a huge challenge in and of itself. And I had been experiencing these spells, is what I call them. And I ended up going to ER because I thought I was having a stroke. And they ran a CAT scan, and they found out that I had an aneurysm. So I had to go see a neurosurgeon about what was going on in my brain. And meanwhile, the neurologist who did the CAT scan said, now I think we need to run some more tests on you. So I went through probably 3 months of the most intense tests that you can imagine. I mean, from spinal tap to being checked with this strange headgear to see if perhaps I was epileptic, going and ruling out anything and everything. And when it all came back, it was said and done, she told me I had MS. So when you are told that you have MS, that's a tough pill to swallow right there, because you don't know how it's going to progress. So I have recurring remitting MS. That same day that she had told me that, I was scheduled to go see my neurosurgeon for the first of 3 brain surgeries. So I had to learn, and these 3 brain surgeries, let me back up. I had those in 14 months. So it was a lot of trauma in my brain. And after the 3rd one, I was having trouble speaking. I was having trouble formulating words. And, I'm a very happy person, and I love to talk, and I love to engage with people. And my children are the light of my life. And the saddest thing, I remember sitting at the kitchen table with my daughter, and she was having some issues with some girls at school who were being, bullies, quite frankly. And I couldn't get all the words out to counsel my daughter in her time of need. And, between the MS and the brain surgeries, and then the fog of it all, there was some deep, dark depression. There was a lot I was trying to, work, and I was working 100 hours a week and still raising my children, and it became overbearing. And I realized right then I had to dig in and find a way out of this. The opposite, that instead of having the high energy, you're in the dregs of energy. You have none. And I had to find my way out. And that's when I dug in and I charted everything in my life, what was going on. And I didn't know it then, but that's how high energy performance came about, because I knew that I had to change. And when I saw the results in my own life, I implemented it when I moved back here to Arizona and started my business to help others and to be that vessel, like Charlene said. I mean, and her story is amazing, Jim. We are
Yeah.
Yeah, we are all vessels to help each other. We are
Mhm.
all vessels to help each other. So, my speech took 2 years, almost 2 full years to come back. And if I were talking to you, and this was after my third brain surgery, I'd be like, Jim, what's the, let me hold them up so you can see them, my glasses. I'd be
Okay.
like, what are those called? I couldn't remember everyday simple words. And it was
Mm.
in an entire conversation. And it was extremely embarrassing and it was depressing. And so I had to get out of this fog. And part of it was just time for my brain to heal. It was very invasive. The first and the third, they only went up to my ear. And in those surgeries, I was awake for them, which I have to
Mm.
tell you was pretty cool. It was actually pretty cool. I was scared, but it was cool. And the middle one where they went in and put the shunt in my head. Of course, I was put to sleep for that, and it was a really bad aneurysm. And for those of you who don't know, people we get aneurysms and we don't know anything about them. I mean, I knew my mother had a small aneurysm, and my neurosurgeon said that they are primarily hereditary from the female side of your family. So, like, my children need to be checked because mine was so large. And I had a 4 by 6 in the internal right carotid artery right behind my right eye.
Mm.
And it was so urgent that he said, honestly, if it blew and I was 50 feet from a hospital, I wouldn't have made it.
Hmm.
And it was,
Wow. When
yeah,
when you're sitting there saying that you were awake for your first two brain surgeries and
yeah.
you thought it was pretty cool, I'm going like, wow, not me. When I go in for surgery, put me in orbit around Jupiter, because my luck. You say what? It was up to the ear when they did the surgery.
Yeah, they only because I go in through your ephemeral artery. They
Mm.
went in, they didn't open up my head.
Mm.
So they went in through my femoral artery and they put this wire thing, I don't know, whatever it was, and they would
Yeah.
shoot iodine up into my brain and then take x-rays of it
Hmm.
so that they could see everything that was going on and where
Mm.
that aneurysm was placed and what
Yeah.
was going on around it. If there was brain mass, brain matter, if it was lodged in the brain, or in my case, I was really blessed and it was in an empty area that was not involved with the brain in itself.
Hmm.
And an aneurysm, for those of you who don't know, really the easiest way to describe it is sort of like when your tires go bad on your car and you get that bulge in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what an aneurysm is. It's a
Yeah.
bulge in wherever it is in your body.
Yeah.
But when it bursts, it's a little worse than what it does to your tires.
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking about that, laying there and they're running that little light scope up there to be able to spray that dye in there. I'd still want to be asleep for that because I'd probably be laying there and they say, "You see anything?" No, not yet. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't want to hear that, right as they're going through the trial and error there. But yeah, it's I got to tip my hat to you. I mean, because if you just think about having a brain surgery, you're thinking, man, that's got to be a little scary. It really does. I mean, to me.
Well, the first one scared me because I didn't know what to expect. I
Right.
really thought that, I didn't realize that there was going to be that many people in the room. He's like, "Oh, this is just we're just going to go in and see what's going on." And there were so many people in the room, and it was so cold. It was so cold. And then,
Mm.
you're on a really, really narrow gurney. And then the
Yeah.
reality, that first one, when they started strapping me into the gurney board, they strap your head, they strap your arms, they strap your legs so you can't move.
Mhm.
So, that first one, I was pretty scared and I was seriously crying. The second one, I knew more what to expect, but I also knew that they were going to put me out, and they gave me fentanyl on all three of them, and they had me count back from like 20, and I'm like 20, 19, 18. I was done.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
out. And that
Mhm.
surgery took actually, it took like an hour and 10 minutes for him to go in and do that. And what puzzles me to this day is how they can go up through your femoral artery with a camera and all the equipment that they need to put that shunt in your head.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing what they can do. And, I had surgery a couple of years ago, and I remember when they wheeled me in there, I was still awake and all. And man, the place was cold. You could freeze meat in there,
Oh yeah, it's horrible cold.
Yeah. And they put me on that table, and the guy put that oxygen mask on me. He's putting on real tight because they had they give me something, and man, I couldn't breathe. It's kind of like, hey, give me, bro. Let me hold this thing. So he let me hold it, and I was, just laying there, and then all of a sudden, the next thing I know, I'm gone. I mean, next thing I know, I wake up really, but I mean, it just really put me out. But because the doctor asked me, says, you want to be awake for this? I said, are you kidding? No way. I mean, a good chance to, I'd mess a good nap here,
Right. When I woke up, I was in ICU. So they kept me in ICU, and I had a little argument with the nurse. I was starving, and that was from the second brain surgery, the main one.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to eat. And she's like, oh, no, you're on a liquid diet. And I said, no, that's not working. I've already called. I've got food coming. She's like, well, you can't bring food into ICU without clearing it with your doctor. I said, then get an MG on the phone. So, it's been an arduous journey, Jim. It really has been. And the one of many things is that I learned that it is not a death sentence.
Right.
So I do not let my arthritis, my MS, or, the brain surgeries, I don't let them live me. I live them. Because once you do that, you know what? All your control and all your happiness, and you've given away all your energy.
Oh, yeah. Because that's what you're known as. You're the high energy coach, and you do that. And because you come from a background of, you got skin in the game, just like Charlene. I mean, both you girls have got skin in the game.
Right.
I mean, I got to tip my hat to both of you, because the only thing I was in was the Army. So that's about as much as skin in the game as I got. And I stayed there 31 years. And then they told me, you're getting too old and too ugly. You better go home. So I did. But, I'm going to ask you a question here but I think you've already answered it. But what is the greatest accomplishment in your life, would you consider?
Raising my children.
Raising your children, huh?
Yep. They all have, just like all of us, have bumps in the road, but raising my children to be three beautiful, articulate, strong human beings. And that, to me, if I did nothing else in my life, I was not going to screw up raising my kids.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. I also know you also are an animal lover, aren't you?
Oh, yes. I've had so many animals. I just recently lost my last cat, but I still have my dog, who is 4 feet long, pure white. He is a Great Pyrenees. And I've had as many as 6 cats at one time, with 3 children and the dog. It was kind of a sanctuary at times, I think.
Yeah.
But I love it. I wouldn't live without an animal.
Oh, I hear you. And I bet if you and the animals and kids all got in the car and went somewhere, they probably thought it was a modern day version of Noah's Ark, huh?
Pretty much. Pretty much. Absolutely.
One thing that really strikes me about animals is that each one has their own very unique personality. And Donna, I'll go this far because I really believe this in my heart. I believe sometimes when that special pet comes along And I lost a dog about 6 years ago, and he was that special pet to me. I mean, it was devastating to me when I lost him because he had pneumonia. I didn't know it. By the time he got sick, till he was gone was 48 hours. It was just devastating for me. But I'm a firm believer that sometimes that special pet is just created just for you and brought into your life for the joy and the jubilee to show the Creator how great He is, how tremendous He is, and how He has no limits. I mean, not even two parakeets are the same, for goodness sakes. I mean, you may not know them just by looking at a cage, but I got to tell you one story about it. Would you like to hear about my cat and canary? Have you heard that story?
No, I don't think I have.
Well, back in it was in 94, I met this lady and she had she raised canaries. She had these beautiful roll of canaries. And I says, one of these days I'll have to get a canary from you. She said, well, let me find one that's really a good singer and I'll call you. I said, okay. So the next year in 1995, we picked up a little Siamese female cat. The next week, she called me. She says, Jim, I've got a canary for you. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to be a train wreck. A cat and a canary, especially a Siamese cat in the same house. I mean, this is going to be war. But I couldn't back down because I gave the lady my word. So we went and picked it up. And I'm telling my wife on the way back, it'd be okay, no problem, and I'm lying like a dog, praying like a nun at confession. We'll be okay, more like it. But anyway, we brought them home and brought the little canary home. The cat and the canary became good friends, very good friends. And when Ellen was cleaning the little canary cage, Peaches, the female cat, she'd stick her head inside the cage and just look at him, and he was fine. But I'll tell you something that's interesting. After we lost him, Peaches lived to be about 19, which is pretty old for a kitten or a cat. And after we lost him, she was just devastated.
Mm-hmm.
She would not come in the day room where his cage hung during the day for over 3 months.
Oh, wow.
She just could not set a foot in that room.
Yeah.
And they were very, very close. And it just amazes me how animals can have that very unique connection. And
Absolutely.
I think if we as people, we reach out and try to have that very same unique connection with others, that would make our life, number one, a lot easier. Number two, make it more fun and more enjoyable, and make life in general more enjoyable to live, And,
Well, because animals take everything at face value. There's no hidden agenda. It's unconditional, like my dog, and he is quite large. Any dog that's 4 feet long is considered on the large side.
Yeah.
And he'll do something, and I'll be like at the back of the house, and I'll be like, Jake, I can't believe you did that. And he'll be in the kitchen, and I'll come out and I'll see him, and he'll put his paw up and look at me, drop his little head, and I'm like, oh, honey, I'm not mad at you. I'm sorry. And then,
Yeah.
So it's awesome. But, it's amazing because what you just said is the energy that the animals transfer to us.
Mm-hmm.
They transfer that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. We have much to learn from our own animals.
Oh, you know it. I've often said, can you imagine what a wonderful world this world would be if everyone had the heart of the family dog?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. We could learn a lot from them.
I've had a few cats that had some good hearts, too.
Yeah. It's that female Siamese I was telling you about, Peaches. She used to take the slack out of my chain. I'll tell you that, because one day I left the house. I said, I'll see you tonight. Just mention it to her like that, which she was expecting 5:36. Well, I had to go down to Houston. I got caught in that, rush hour traffic. So the time I come tripping in the doors about a little after 9, and she let me know she was not happy with me. I mean, there's rules in this house, boy, and you broke the rules. She swatted me on my heels and walked by, and she's hollering at me. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Chinese are notorious for it.
Yeah. She'd get mad at me. She'd bite me sometimes, let me know that she was not happy with me. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And,
I had Siamese cats that bite on the ankle too.
oh yeah, I mean, she brought blood on my arm a couple of times there, because she'd get mad at something I did, And I mean, she'd take the slack out of my chain. Huh? We got rules here, buddy. You need to get up to speed here.
That's right. You broke them, and I'm not happy about it.
And I never to get
Yeah,
mad at her.
absolutely.
I just gave her some room. It's okay. I'll give you some space. Back off. But animals are really they bring a lot of joy in your life, and I think animals are really good for kids. We're almost out of time, but I love talking about animals because animals give a child a very special opportunity to love and care for something, and I think that's a good thing for. In fact, I know it is. We all do. But
Oh,
it
absolutely.
gives them a chance to be responsible for something and get love in return. And I've known several ladies that they have their favorite animal is a horse. And I'll tell you right now that the connection between the girl and the horse is just it's forever. It is forever.
Absolutely.
It's something very special. Mhm.
When we're blessed with those special animals, and when you're really blessed, you get more than one in your life.
Oh yeah, you become an animal lover. And ladies and gentlemen, we're about out of time, and I gotta say goodbye to Donna, and we gotta say goodbye too. But most importantly, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you know of someone that would really enjoy the show, we would greatly appreciate if you sharing it with them, especially the messages that's been on today, because both Charlene and let me just bring Charlene back if she's. Hey, Charlene, how are you?
I'm good.
I'm trying to push the right button. There we go. But just wanted to bring you back and thank you again for your inspiring story. And thank you for all that you do here with us, helping us with the commercials and all those wonderful things. So I'm going to give both of you a chance to wave goodbye and thank you for being with us today.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching our show. To learn more about the messages of inspiration and hope, the 6-minute webinar, and our host and staff, check out our website. On behalf of Jim and our guests, I'm Charlene Fouts. Tell a friend about our show, and thanks for watching.